Gaming news on YouTube. Yes, the show has returned to the most original idea on the entire platform. I know, I'm a pretty good YouTuber. Today's a good one, though. Let me take you on the tale of the biggest failure in video game history. Let's follow me on the journey. Starting back on July the 9th, we see a teaser trailer for this game called The Culling 2. It's a game that no one expected to see, and well, it looks pretty bad.
Greetings, contestants! Guess what time it is? It's time for you to guess what I'm about to announce. Do you see any clues in these images? Maybe I should drop in some hints.
It unsurprisingly got massively downvoted. The reception was just terrible, but the worst part of all was that the trailer on July 9th was announcing the release on July the 10th. So the game came out the next day, priced at $20. Not a lot of people showed up, with a peak player count of 249 players, which in a battle royale game, which requires a lot of people to play, let's just say that the queue times weren't very fast. And then fast forward just 18 hours later, and there's a grand total of 2 people playing the game. A couple days later, on July the 12th, we got a tweet from the developer Xaviant, which said this: "It's time for us here at Xaviant to come together for some much needed soul searching and to have some admittedly difficult discussions about the future of our studio. We'll talk soon." This is a rough thing to hear. Again, they're clearly jumping on the bandwagon. They just want to join in on the battle royale hype. And you can't blame them, because a lot of other developers are doing the same thing, but you don't like to see things fail, even if it is just bandwagon jumping. These are people's livelihoods. They're, you know, you don't want to see anybody fail. Well, some people do, but they're sociopaths, so we're not here to relish in someone's misery, and we certainly don't want to see studios close down. The good news is, not all hope is lost yet. We got a video from the developer, and, well, let's take a look.
Hi there, I'm Josh Van Velde. I'm the Director of Operations here at Xaviant. I think most of you know that last week we launched The Culling 2, and that launch was not successful. One thing that has emerged very clearly for us is that The Culling 2 was not a game that you asked for. So with that in mind, we've decided that the best course of action is to take that game down off of store shelves.
So just to be clear, this game that literally launched last week is getting taken off of stores already.
So I can announce right now that one of the things that we will do moving forward is to go back to The Culling Day 1.
That's pretty huge for fans of the original Culling. This is like, it feels like a last-ditch effort kind of thing, but I hope it goes well, you know? Maybe they go back to the base of the Culling and people put their money where their mouth is, in the sense that everyone who says that the game was a lot better back then, hope they come back to play it. We'll find out. We'll find out. Do people actually care?
I also want to apologize because when we got to the end of our early access run, you weren't happy with the state of the game. We weren't happy with the game ourselves, but we didn't see a path forward. So we turned it off and moved on to something else. And in retrospect, that was a mistake. I can announce that as of this week, The Culling in its Day 1 form, and by that I mean literally the build that we launched back in March of 2016, is coming to our test servers. The other part of our announcement is that we're putting The Culling back into development, into free-to-play, when we launch that update. So we think that that'll be a new opportunity for the game to thrive, and we look forward to working with you and finding out where The Culling is going in the future.
I'm not gonna lie, that's tough to watch, because I feel for them. You know, that's a tough situation. I feel bad for them. You know, people like to kind of vilify developers, and they're doing all the wrong things, and they're just greedy. And I mean, yeah, they got to make money because they got to make a living. They can't starve and make video games. You know what I mean? This is a process. Making a video game is a process that costs time, and time is money. Friend, gotta stop referencing WoW. It's been a long. I mean, you need to get over the game, Dennis. You gotta get over it. It's ruining your life. But at the same time, it's hard to not look at that and feel like, man, I mean, let's recap the events. Culling comes out, people like it, they change it a bunch, the game basically dies. They scrabble together the Culling 2, they reveal it, they release it, it fails almost immediately. There's talks of them shutting down the studio, and then they come out with this video that's like, we're going back to Day 1 the Culling. Hey guys, remember when you liked us? Let's go back to that point. And it's tough, you know? It's a competitive environment now, battle royale games. Even though the Culling is different, I'm gonna be very interested to see if the game can catch on. If nothing else, you know, I wish them well. I hope this goes goes well. In other video game failure news, this is a very negative episode. Crackdown 3, you remember that? I remember the original Crackdown. I was just a wee little lad entering college, and finally I had freedom, and so what I decided to do was do nothing but play video games, and Crackdown was one of those awesome video games that I played a ton of. I got fond memories of Crackdown as a franchise. In Crackdown 3, it's having a hell of a time. First off, it's been delayed yet again. They say that Crackdown 3 is coming out in early 2019, and what makes that worrisome is there's a lot of like big anticipated games coming out of that time. Early 2019 is Anthem, Metro Exodus, Division 2, and then you're gonna just sneak Crackdown 3 right in there. And even though I have fond memories of Crackdown, it doesn't seem like there's a lot of excitement about Crackdown 3. All right, that's gonna do it for today's episode of Gaming News on YouTube. Thank you guys so much for watching the show. I realize this is a little bit negative. I really wanted to talk about the culling 2 though, and it's such an interesting thing. I really don't think I've ever seen a game come out and fail that poorly this publicly. Now, yes, games come out all the time. There's probably a bunch of games coming out today that no one will play. But the culling was different because it had a big fan base. It had an audience at one point. That makes the culling 2, it just has a bit more of a spotlight on it that makes the failure that much more noticeable. Sorry, the culling 2. Hope your trip back to the original culling turns out better. Good luck. I don't know. We'll do some more positive news on the next gaming news show. Although Outrage does really well on YouTube. How many angry gamers are there on YouTube? There's a lot of them. Sometimes I get upset about gaming stuff, but I'm never gonna be the angry gamer. If I'm ever that angry about gaming all the time, I should probably stop gaming. Find a hobby that doesn't raise my blood pressure. You know what I'm saying?